The best thing for being sad, replied Merlin, beginning to puff and blow, is to learn something. That is the only thing that never fails. You may grow old and trembling in your anatomies. You may lie awake at night listening to the disorder in your veins. You may miss your only love. You may see the world about you devastated by evil lunatics, or know your honor trampled in the sewer of lesser minds. There's only one thing for it then, to learn. Learn why the world wags and what wags it. That's the only thing which the mind can never exhaust, never alienate, never be tortured by, never fear or distrust, and never dream of regretting. Learning is the thing for you. That's from the book The Once and Future King by T.H. White, about the legend of King Arthur. The quote is from Merlin the magician. He was a wizard who was one of King Arthur's advisors, and there's a great deal of wisdom in that quote of his, and we're going to try to unpack it here. This is the first video I'm making for a channel called Perspectives on Power that's intended to discuss all aspects of power, which I know is a ridiculously broad topic. It's also a topic that's been written about for centuries and talked about for centuries, probably since the beginning of the human race itself. As an adult with ADHD, who wasn't diagnosed until late in life in my 60s, I never thought I had much power. I did. Everybody has some power, but I never thought I had much. Because of some unknowable combination between my condition, ADHD, and my chosen profession of contract project manager, or a profession that was chosen for me, because people saw the way I operate and decided that was the best place for me, I have worked hundreds of jobs in virtually every industry. So my knowledge may only be an inch deep, but it's 1,000 miles wide. And I do think I have something to say on this topic. And what I want to say right now, the insight that I have had and the insight that Merlin the magician, fictional character, has given us, learning is power, not knowledge. Knowledge is a byproduct of learning. I'm saying that learning itself is a kind of power, and a very powerful kind of power. I don't think you're supposed to use the same word to define itself, but it is. Learning can give you a lot of power, and it can empower you even if you don't have much power right now. So basically, when you encounter any obstacle in life, learning might be the way around it. Whether it's a big obstacle or a small obstacle, ask yourself, what can I learn that might help me with this? And you might be surprised. It might be something fairly simple in terms of time. It might be even just a few hours, it might be a few days, it might be a few weeks, months, it might even be a few years. But it's the process of learning that gives you power. And power will start flowing to you in at least a small way once you take that first step and start learning what you need to know. 3 years ago, my life was going fairly well. I had just been diagnosed and treated for ADHD a few years before that, and it worked. Everything in my life got better. My small business was going fairly decently. My level of organization, which has always been a huge problem for me, improved considerably. Both personal and business got better. And I was making some really interesting progress on some economic development applications, which is really a passion of mine. Then from out of the blue, much of that was destroyed in an instant. Somebody had some power that I didn't know they had, and they probably didn't know they had, and it was really devastating to my life. I'm not going to tell that story here, but that part of the quote by Merlin about having your honor trampled in the sewer of lesser minds, that happened to me. My honor was trampled in the sewer of lesser minds. But purely by coincidence, at the same time that happened, I was working on a wiki about power. This is just a hobby of mine. If you know what a wiki is, it's a collaborative writing tool. Wikipedia, for example, is a wiki. Collaborative writing, but I was just using it for personal writing, for my personal notes. I will show it to you at some point. I'll show it on this channel. But when that happened, somebody used an extreme abuse of power I didn't even know they had. And it forced me to really think about what power is. I am getting older now. I'm 70. Fortunately, I do not lie awake at night listening to the disorder in my veins. My health is actually pretty good. But that one part of the quote about seeing the world devastated by evil lunatics, who hasn't thought about that? Um, when we listen to the news media these days, we constantly hear about things we have no power over at all. Wars, climate change, mass shootings, national disasters, even national elections. We have no power over that. But we do have power over learning. No matter who you are or what you have power over learning. So if you're feeling a little down, learn something. Learn how to juggle. Start learning Spanish. I'll bet you half of all Americans have had learned Spanish on their to-do list for the last 20 years or whatever. So memorize 100 words. If that's on your to-do list, memorize 100 words of Spanish. You can find lists of the top 100 words in every language. Find those, or the top 1,000 even. I've heard that if you want to learn a language, one of the best things to do is memorize a bunch of words first before you even learn the grammar, how to speak or write. Just straight memorization. It's not easy, but it would help you when you do start to learn it. If you want to kind of just get along a little bit in a different country. I also learned video editing. As you can see here, I'm not very good at it, but I'm learning it. But you know, there's kind of a weird thing I'm a little bit more proud of than even this video editing and a few other things I've learned. Pardon me. I learned how to do an Asian squat. You know how that I guess not a lot of nationalities and cultures take care of it, take credit for it. When you can squat down, flat on both feet, and just be in a crouched position, but totally relaxed and working on things in the ground. I got in a really weird habit where I would go out at midnight, the witching hour, and I'd walk down to a bridge near my house. I live on not far from Mission Bay in San Diego, and there was a bridge with some slats in it, and right at midnight every night I would walk out and I would start doing squats, just not even long, like less than a minute. I'd do like 3 sets of them, 30 seconds each or something like that, and it took 30 days. After about 2 weeks, I didn't need the bridge anymore, but for some reason I kept walking down there anyway. And I would do 3 sets of squats, 30 seconds each. I had no idea my old aging body could learn how to squat, but I did, and I can now. I'm not going to show you, but I can squat now. I'm not going to dwell on it here, but there is absolutely no excuse for not learning almost anything. Whether it's in your ability or on the edge of your ability, the tools are there, the technologies are there. These weren't around when I was a kid. When I was in school, there was no internet. There was no Facebook. There was nothing. Now, just in the last, 6 months, we have AI. ChatGPT makes a perfectly reasonable, or I can't think of the word, not tolerable, serviceable tutor. You can use tutor for learning. I'm learning SQL. I made a joke to ChatGPT, which is kind of weird. I said, "Hey, ChatGPT, I want to learn SQL, which is a database programming language, the most simple computer language you can really learn, but I'm not good at these things." And I said, "Hey, ChatGPT, I'm an older adult. I have ADHD. I would like to learn SQL. You have to give a lot of examples, repeat things in a different way, and I have ADHD. Can you help me?" And ChatGPT was like, "Hold my beer." And it's good at it. It knows I have ADHD. It's doing exactly that. It's repeating things. It's using examples. Kind of a little bit better than humans, because I've used both humans and now technology, and that's a little bit scary, but definitely the topic for another video. So I guess that closes it. If you feel like you have no power, you really do have power. You can learn something, and nobody can take that away from you. Once you've learned something, you've got it. It can't go away unless you die. If you're feeling like you don't have any power, learn something. Learn anything. I highly recommend it. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your attention.